back to Unquiet You. Today we are talking to Brittany Sensabaugh, who is a client of mine and also a real estate agent.
Yes.
I'm going to talk about how I know you first. I know Brittany because you started working for my ex-husband's company. I don't even remember when, but I remember when you came on, he was so excited to have you. And he was like, this girl's a go-getter. And she's probably going to not be here too long because she's going to figure something else out. But he always talked about how great you were at your job. And so there was a story that you don't know. I did not put in the questions. And we can edit it out if you hate it. But a few years ago, there was an incident at a pool party that you got kind of upset about. We don't talk about what it was. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. I was not at the event, but I heard multiple stories, about how it happened, all things. Mm-hmm. And I remember saying to someone when I was talking, I said, she has no idea how this had to happen because it's exactly what she needed for her transformation. And that this little thing that seemed so big at the moment was going to be what catalyzed you all the way to something different. So you got into real estate. You've been in real estate, is it a year?
Almost a year.
Almost a year. Mm-hmm. And she actually sold me my house in November. When I was looking to do agents, clearly I know a lot of agents just being in the business and stuff. I really respected what you did going into real estate. I love the way you left the title company. Mm-hmm. I thought you did that very respectfully. And you were just going after it. You were like, I'm going to make this happen.
Yeah.
And there's nothing I love more than a woman who's like on a mission.
All in.
And so you sold me my first house of my own.
Yes.
And it was a fun experience.
It was my second client, best client. I was so happy that you trusted me. Just starting out, you're like, no one's going to believe in me. And it just meant a lot to me. And I respect you so much. And you choosing me, I was honored.
Yeah, great. It was I loved it. It was a lot of fun. But at the time, I remember sitting inside the house that I actually bought. We ended up buying, and I think we had like a 20-minute conversation about where you were and some goals and some things. And I remember thinking they probably have cameras and they're probably going to do this whole conversation right now. But it was a good one.
Yeah.
So, and then you reached out to me a few weeks later, and I just so happened to have a special, like I was doing this 8-week thing that I actually didn't even advertise. Yes. I only had one spot left to fill and you took it. And so we've been working together since February. Yeah. So we'll talk about that some, but I want you to kind of tell us a little bit about your background and what got you into real estate.
Yeah. So like you said, I started out in title and, your ex-husband was like a big proponent of me and working, and he did kind of push me to do more, which I really appreciated. Doing title, I felt like I was successful, but ultimately like I just wasn't fulfilled. Like I was making the money I wanted, I felt really good at it, but there was just like something missing, and I always just had this little voice that's like, there's more. And that more was, okay, take the real estate exam, do it. I've always been like someone who is like, hey, go do it. Like if you don't know the information, like go figure it out and do it. And a lot of friends around me, I could see that they wanted a house, they wanted more, and they just didn't have the information. So even without being a real estate agent, I would be like, go get pre-approved, go do this. And I'm like, you know what? Let me make some money off of this. So I kind of saw like, you know what, you're good at this. Like, let's try it out. So you being my second client, I was still pretty fresh, but you trusted me. We got through it, got you a great deal. And then just those little wins kind of just let me know everything was okay.
Yeah.
And then history ever since.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember when you got into real estate, I remember when he came home and told me that you had given your notice and stuff, and he knew, like, you had open conversation with him. And then he told me what you were doing. I was like, what the actual hell is she thinking? And he looked at me and he was like, I think she just thinks if she can survive a year, it'll be your, and I'll like, I mean, I have so many personal feelings about that whole thing that I was like, damn, she's not going to stop. Like the fact that you went in with one of the hardest teams, like personality wise, all the things, and you were like, I'm doing it, and you did it. And then like now you're with a company or a group that I think is perfect for you. He's very well respected, and I just think that he has helped you flourish, and you're doing great things for his team. So,
Absolutely.
So I guess we kind of talked about what got you into real estate. Yeah. So can you kind of share a time, like we'll talk about some personal stuff now. So when you came to me, you knew that real estate was your passion. We knew that you were going to make it work, and we knew all the things. But you didn't really know how, right? I think this is anytime someone feels like there's this desire for more inside of them, but they don't understand the how or the what it looks like, right? We only see what other people are doing.
Yeah.
And it's really easy to look at someone who's been doing real estate for 20 years and that has a very successful setup and all the things. But when you're starting over, I think sometimes it can feel like, what am I doing? Like, I don't even know where to start. So,
Absolutely.
So when you came to me, I thought it was, of course, you came to me thinking we were only going to talk about real estate.
Yes.
And talk about goal setting. And I think from the very first call, it was definitely nothing to do with real estate or goal setting. But I think it's been a great thing as watching you blossom has been super, super, super fun. So, what is one mindset shift that completely changed the way you approach your work and your life?
I think that honestly, it's something that I learned from you, which was, I would think that all these things were like kind of happening to me and like kind of I was a victim of like my circumstances, but actually you redirected that into everything is working for me. And so once I like made that shift, I'm like, hey, all these good things, even the bad things, the confusing things, they're working for me in some kind of way. And so when I shifted from that to like, why is this happening to me? Everything kind of changed. Like I would look at situations and try to actually see like, okay, how is this working for me? And what role am I playing in this? And that mindset shift has, I think, propelled me to a different level for sure.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that I could see a difference in your brain when that shifted. Can you tell us about a time that everything felt like it was falling apart, but it actually was a huge breakthrough?
Absolutely. I think that probably the moment like right before I reached out to you and came to you, that's when I really thought everything was just falling apart. I honestly have always been a person, if I have a plan, like we're gonna stick to the plan. And if something deviates from that plan, then, I think it's over and that's the end. But that shift and that transition really highlighted like, hey, you're on this journey. The goal is still the same, but the path can change. Yeah. So you can change paths, you can shift, but as long as you keep the goal the same, I think that that was a big breakthrough for me. Like everything doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to go exactly the way you thought it was going to go.
It never will.
It never will. But yeah, it just made me like shift and be like, okay, because when I came to you, I was at the lowest of confidence, like real estate, I was feeling a little uneasy about. And I just kind of was reminded of my goals and like, hey, this is where you want to be and we can get there.
Yeah. That was a really good moment. I felt like it's so hard when you're going through things that you feel like you're like, this is not fair. Like this was not in the plan, right? And then when you get out of it the other side, it's like, thank you. What does success mean to you today, and how has that definition evolved over time?
Ooh, success today I think kind of comes back to like my why. Um, I've always been motivated by money, which I mean, you've let me know like that's okay. But I'm also motivated with my why, which is like I want to have purpose and I want to help people. And I didn't want to just sit at a desk and like, type things in every day. I wanted to change people's lives and actually like get up every day and love what I do. So I think success now to me is, being passionate and growing and learning and not just, being comfortable. I think we've had conversations where I'm like, you know what? I was very like secure. And you're like, were you secure or were you comfortable?
Yeah.
And I was comfortable. And I'm not a person that thrives off of just comfort. Like I need to be shaken up a little bit. I need some challenges. I need to grow. I need to stretch. I need to feel like I'm reaching towards something. And so I think success to me now is like having purpose and loving what I do while making a lot of money.
That's right. And we can make money. That's what, so like, I am definitely an emotional, I've talked to you about this, but I'm definitely more of an emotional person than I am money motivated. But it's okay to want to make money doing what you're passionate about. Like, the bills I have. Like, yeah. So I know that you do some work with a nonprofit. Tell us about that nonprofit and why that one is so important to you personally.
Yeah. So I joined the Young Professional Council for the Family Center, and they help families with intergenerational trauma. So bullying, like the things that, like, poverty, growing up poor, they go the extra step. So they don't just give coaching and counseling. They don't say like, this is what you need to go get a job or go get a car. That's not always like easy for someone to do. It's not always just like, okay, like just wake up and like have the motivation. They actually provide the resources. They say, hey, here is an apartment. Here are these things. Here are the tools to help you. And so that's always been a passion of mine. I believe that the way I got where I am today is because someone looked down and said, hey, like I'm going to pull you up. And so I not only like look beside me, but I also try to look, below me and who needs me, who did I need whenever I was going through these things. Um, I didn't have a horrible childhood, but I've dealt with a lot of things that, people that the Family Center helps deal with. So yeah, it's been very like enriching and it's been great to help people.
Yeah, yeah. I know you have a lot of passion about that. Lita tells you that a lot. Who or what inspires you on the hard days when doubt or burnout starts to creep in?
You. Yeah, you for sure. I would say, you know, I, I try to look within myself because you can only help yourself too. But yeah, I mean, you're a big proponent of that. My boyfriend, my friends, and then also like people on my team. So, I look at the people I work with, they motivate me. Jake, my broker, he's good on the days that are, just you're not feeling it. But yeah, I think having you as a coach honestly is, I do look to you on those days, just the tools that we've created and yeah, I think
And I think too, little Brittany.
yeah, I look at Lori Gurney, I definitely look at her a lot because talking to you has kind of helped like see where have I come from, like what what's changed or what would I tell her. So yeah, she's definitely in there cheerleading for you too.
I think it's always fascinating because I don't think you have to have a bad childhood to still have things from your childhood you don't want to move forward, right? Like, no matter what phase of life you're in, it could be middle school, elementary, whatever. Like, we all have crap that happens to us that we're like, man, if we could go back and talk to like little Amy, little Brittany, like, and so I know for me, that's a big part of it is like I do a lot of things, like even speaking or things like that, that I was so shy to do as a kid. I'm like, yeah, we're doing it for her, you know? So I love that about you because I love when I can always tell Brittany's energy when she gets on a call. I'm like, Okay. Okay. I know how this is going to go.
I wear it on my face.
Yes. Yeah. So how do you think us working together has helped you step into a bigger version of yourself personally or professionally?
Yeah, I think, we work a lot on confidence and, speaking up. I've historically kind of been someone who is a pleaser. I want to please. I want, everyone else's needs to be met. And like there's good in that. And there's things that you do that you can take good from. And you've taught me that. But then there's, also the things where you're like, okay, like I need to shift this. Like I have a voice. So I think I've learned that my voice matters. So, I'm listening to that voice. I'm stepping into the power kind of that I see that everyone else sees, but I'm like, what do you guys see? So just like stepping into that and just owning who I am, what I want, like asking myself those questions. Yeah, I think that's helped me step into to
I think one of the biggest reasons that you've been able to do this is because you're willing to do the work. Like I remember I think our first call I talked about like accountability and how
yeah,
there would be some weeks where I'm like, Brittany, here's what you're gonna do this week. And then other weeks where I'm like, okay, you got this, right? And some people can't do that. Some people really struggle with that. But every single thing I've asked you to do or I've asked you to step into, you've done it and you've done it immediately. It's not, you don't wait and give me 10 excuses why you didn't get it done. Like it's done.
yeah.
And so I think that is such a huge thing. Like you want this so much and you're going to get it. And I think for those of us that have, like, I say this all the time, ever since I was a kid, from the time I can remember, I always had this thing inside my head, like, there's so much more. Like, you are made for so much more. And it doesn't mean that I didn't appreciate things along the way or like, but I just always knew there was just more and I couldn't settle for anything. And I think that you have that in you too.
Yeah.
And so, the other day after coaching, I told you, I don't do this often, but I did tell you you needed to make a social post. Yes. And you crushed it. I was scrolling later and I was like, she crushed it. And it was so good. It was so good.
I listen every time.
And I think what's great too is when you do post, people hear what you say.
Yeah.
Like people really, really take your word and like listen and you don't feel fake. You don't feel it like you are so authentic that that's what people really, really want to see. So I love that. If you could speak to your younger self before her first open house, what would you tell her? Open houses are so awkward, right?
Oh my gosh.
I feel like, come like 2020, 21, you didn't see open houses because houses were selling. And now all of a sudden there's this like whole new batch of agents who have never had any real open houses. And now it's like, do an open house.
Yeah.
Yeah,
honestly, I think one, it would be bring the sign-in sheet. Like, I think I had an open house. I get there, I'm like, it's not. And also, like, be prepared. So, one, you're like, no one's going to come to my party. So, I think I would just tell her, like, bring the sign-in sheet and people will come. Yeah. Like, just be ready for them to come. And everyone had to have their first open house. So,
yeah,
like, just do it, show up, and it's going to be fine. Yeah. And bring the sign-in sheet.
Bring the sign. Yes. I forget sign-in sheets. Anything I do that I need, like a member, like people to sign up.
Yeah.
Nope, leave it every time.
Exactly.
Every time. So when I sold real estate and I would do an open house, of course we have a lot of kids. So I would look at open houses as like my 2-hour break. Because I could just sit and scroll in my phone.
Like alone.
Because back then it was very rare for people to come. Like because everyone had agents and you didn't have as many transplants coming in and like looking at areas. Now I feel like people are like, well, I want to check out all the areas and so it's out there first. And so I feel like every open house you have is pretty active. So,
it is. Yeah.
And you do a great job. Do you have little snack trees and all the things? All the things.
Yeah.
What legacy do you hope to leave, not just in real estate, but in other people's lives?
Ooh. I think That's a good question. I like one thing that like really like changed the whole legacy thing for me was, and I don't even know where I read this, but it was like, and it's kind of cliche, but like you don't want to be on your deathbed and be like, oh, like I wish I would have done this. I wish I could have done that. And so that like really resonated with me. And I was like, man, what a scary, terrifying feeling. And like you have the time now to literally be who you want to be, do what you want to do, and then also when you are past the deathbed, you're gone. What are people going to think about you? What are they going to say about you? And so I always just, I want people to know like I was genuine. I cared. I was loyal. I was a friend. And that I was real, like that I just want to like leave a mark that is positive and just authentic. And I literally want to just do everything and try everything. Yeah, she did it. Like she didn't care. She didn't let things stop her. Like that's the legacy I want to leave. I don't think it has like a name on it. It's just I tried it. Yeah, I did it all. Like everything I wanted, I went for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really good. I don't, that's, mine would be very similar to that. I don't, I also think about like when I leave legacies, like not a legacy, but like when I leave a room of people that I've just met or whatever, my goal is to never have anyone be able to say she was somebody I thought like she was so different, because I want to show up in every room as the same version of me. As doesn't mean every room I bring the same energy, because some things are just different, but I try, like that's my goal, is to like show up as me, no matter the situation. And yeah, so I love that. I think the world needs so much more authentic people who are okay with flaws and okay with messing up and also okay with like not stopping.
Yeah.
And I think that that's definitely where you're going. What made you decide to invest in a coach, and why did you pick me? Be nice. I'm just you're like, you're the only one I need.
No, God. No, so like I think that whatever I was making the transition, which goes back to one of the hardest points of my life, like transitioning from, a different brokerage. I knew that I was going to need accountability. I knew that when I moved, I was going to have a little bit more autonomy. I was going to be more in a self-starter position, and I needed someone who would kind of guide me on those dark days. Like I knew where my head could go if things are going bad. I knew where it could go if things were going good. And so I was like, like you and I did have that conversation in your house. And I think also a conversation when you came to get your closing gift. And
that was the day we got in the car, and so it was like, why? This was supposed to take like 10 minutes.
Yeah. And you're like, no, let's do a session real quick. Yeah. And so after that, I was like, you know what? And the thing is, like, I talked to you about it. And of course, we like talk to our friends about things and like, family members, that sort of thing. And sometimes you run the risk of them like always being on your side, or like always like going with like just hyping you up on your side. And like I came to you with that situation, and I was like, man, she didn't just like say like, oh yeah, Brittany, like you're right. Like I was like, no, she challenged me. And it wasn't just like a devil's advocate kind of thing. It was more just like have you asked yourself this, or like, are you doing this? And it was a real wake up call, like where I was like, wow, okay. So there was that trust there. I wanted someone that I could trust to hold me accountable, but also just to be honest with me. And I think that when you do have a coach, anybody that I'm taking advice from, like would I take their life and be in their position if it was to come down to it? And I could honestly say yes. And so I'm like, you know what? Like this is a person, their character is good. Everything was lining up. And so I think it's an important person in your life, and it can go like you could tell me stuff that could go really wrong. Like it's not like, oh, like you get a coach and like everything just goes right. Like you get someone that kind of really messes up your life. So yeah, so it was a no-brainer for me, and I think that it's done everything that I've that I will.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I always look forward to our weekly calls. Um, let's see, some of the stuff we've already talked about, but what mindset shifts have been the most impactful in your real estate career since we started working together? So you were kind of new anyway, but you had done some stuff, and you've really been in the world of real estate for a long time.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I think that kind of like segues into the answer to your question. I think I would try to come to you and be like, I'm new, like I'm like just starting, and you're like, like you're not new, you know what you're doing. And I was leaning on that as like a crutch to be like, okay, yeah, like I'm new, like I just don't know what's happening, but really like I'm not new. I know what I'm talking about, and it's like just stepping into that and being confident in what I know, what I already know. So just taking on the mindset of like, it's okay to just be getting started, and like some aspects of my career are new to me, but I'm not new to this.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, just knowing like, hey, like I like have a place here and I deserve to take up space in this earth.
yeah, I loved when you would say, "Oh, I knew, I knew." And I'm like, you know how real estate works.
You're not new.
You probably have more knowledge than a lot of agents because you've been on the inside.
Yeah.
Like you see all the things that happen at a closing and how it all works and all the things. I think that's such a holdup for so many people is that they love to say, but I'm new or I'm just starting out. And
Yep.
it's a protecting, like it just protects us, right? But it gives off the like we're not confident in what we're doing and all the things. And so I would always challenge that to you all the time. And I think there's been a lot of times where you've said things and I'm like, how long have we been doing this? We're not doing this.
Yeah, we're not new.
Yeah, I was like I think I had made a post and you commented on my post or sent me a message and you're like, okay, I think I'm ready.
Yeah.
And it was probably about accountability. Yours,
I think it was.
I feel like whenever I make posts that are a little bit bolder, like you got to hold your feet to the all the things. I'm definitely not. I will take your emotions into account all the time. Like I have compassion and all the things, but I'm definitely not gonna be your best friend who tells you what you want to hear. Yeah, yeah.
Like you're gonna saturate, and it's
And you can handle it.
Yeah, you need it. Yeah, like
I remember one day I said, I don't remember what we were talking about, but I said something to you, and your face, I was like, oh. And then you sat there for a minute, and then you just were like, okay, okay, I get it. And I was like, because sometimes I mean, I'm bold in some of the words that's what I say, but yeah, I was just like, God, I remember getting off that call and I was like, she's going places. She has no idea I mean, it's just like
on moment.
Yeah.
That's how you grow. That's where you stretch. Like the moments where you tell me the truth when you're not like thinking like, is this gonna like run her away or is this gonna like hurt her feelings? Like, and you never have hurt my feelings, but it's just some things do hit a nerve that you're like, ooh,
yeah,
ooh, okay, yeah. Like that accountability, it'll hit you, and just have to take it and look at it and move.
Yeah. I think when we own our accountability in the beginning for where we're at and who we are, we're able to see how powerful it actually is and that it's up to us to create what we want. You're not leaning on Jake. You're not leaning on David. Like you're not leaning on outside sources. Like you now know the power.
Absolutely.
Because when we're able to say like, yeah, this is what we did. This is where we are. This is who we are.
Yeah.
We're also able to be like, and we're the ones getting us to the next step. And I think a lot of people still struggle because they want someone else to blame. We want someone else to fall back on. We want someone else to
want someone that can save you.
And like,
only you're gonna save you.
Yes. I think that was, I mean, when I realized that, which I was very young, thankfully, I always say like, I'm so grateful for so many things that happened to me. But when I realized like no one is going to save me. And then even in chapters of my life, I was like, oh, but this person will save me, but it's different, right? Like this is, and I'm like, no one's saving you. Yeah. I was like, it doesn't matter what they're doing. Like we're doing this for ourselves. So
Absolutely.
Have you noticed a difference in your business since investing in yourself personally through coaching? because we do coaching on work. I mean, I feel like every session has to do with work and personal,
Yeah.
in some realm, right?
Mhm.
And so, have you noticed the difference in like how your work is running now?
Yeah, for sure. I think that a big thing that we kind of talk about a lot is like work life balance, and like you're like my mindset has changed on that, like where it's like there is no like real work life balance. Like your work and your life go together, like that's the balance. Like you are your work and you are your like life, so those things, like they're gonna, like you're gonna show up for both of those like at the same time a lot of the times. And yeah, so I think that with coaching, I've learned to balance those things, but not like have this like separation. And um, yeah, and I think I show up with more confidence. I I try to, and I don't try. I do. That's the other thing. So like, I just do things, and like I think that I would tend to overthink things, and talking to you made me just do, like, just take action.
Yeah.
So action would probably be another big theme of what with coaching. It's like just take action and do. And then also in the beginning you know have this fear of like, is someone judging me? Is someone like being like, oh my God, who does she think she is? What is she posting now? Like, and I would like internalize that and kind of put myself in this freeze mode of like, okay, I can't post because what is someone gonna say about this? Or like, are they gonna judge me? And you just kind of like brought it home with like, you know, everyone that you're afraid of like saying something like, do you care about them? Like, would you take their life? And like, the answer is no. And also the people that I admire, like they started where I was, like everyone had to have a day one. They had to do the reel. They had to, you know, go on the appointments, and like, you just have to show up. And I started recognizing like, okay, like I'm taking action, and now I'm starting to feel better. Like taking action makes you get the experience that you're so scared that you don't have.
Yeah.
Like you're like, I don't have experience, I don't have this, but okay, take action. And then now look, now you have experience. Now, like I think I had my first listing appointment, and I was like, this is the first one I'm doing by myself.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay. And so you didn't let me like say any like real fears about that ever again, because no, like this is not your first appointment. You did do it, and people have signed up with you. So it's just getting over those fears, and then like just showing up and just taking action, and just whoever wants to judge, like that's fine.
Yeah.
Like
We're always going to have people that judge us.
Absolutely.
No matter what we do.
Yes.
No matter what we do.
Yeah.
So yeah, being able to do things through other people's judgment, like and I do think it goes back to like, I know sometimes when I post things, people I know if I got some comments on Sunday that were hilarious. I'm probably gonna make a reel about it, but I'm like, who are you to judge me? And then I'm like, I don't care about your life, your opinion. I would not want your life, and the fact that you're still watching me and like you're judging, like, I feel sorry for you.
Yeah.
So, and I'm like, and I remember growing up, I think I was in my 20s. I was a really single mom, so I always tried to like, I looked really young for, being a mom or whatever. And I was always trying to look older so people didn't judge me or whatever. And I remember this older lady in my life, she said, as long as people are judging you, you're doing something right. And I remember always thinking, like, she was like, it doesn't matter if they're saying something good or bad, but the fact that your name is in someone else's mouth means you're doing something right, and it's normally something that they're afraid to do themselves.
Exactly.
And so it doesn't mean, there are still times where I'm like, I don't know if I want to post this, or I don't like the way I look today or whatever, but or what if someone judges me or like whatever, and I'm like, they don't matter. And then I also have to remind myself, I'm like, good for me. I'm judgers. I love
Haters
it.
gonna hate.
Haters are
like,
gonna hate.
I love it.
I mean, are you even living life if you don't have
If you don't have haters, exactly.
no, you're living under a rock scared, and we don't live scared.
Exactly.
Yeah. So so let me ask you this. What surprised you the most about coaching, or about yourself so far through this journey?
So I think that I always like kind of saw myself as this very like self-aware person. I'm like, yeah, I'm so self-aware. Like I know what's going on. Like I saw myself as like someone who knew who I was. Um, and you and coaching kind of opened up those places and like those blind spots that you're like, this is just who I am. Like some of that is not just who you are. It's just you like not wanting to look at like certain aspect of yourself. Like you just wanting to be like, no, that's just who I am. And like, that's it. So coaching is just, it's made me one, just get to where I want to be faster. And it's made me kind of like learn the things that maybe I would learn them on my own through like experiences, trial, error, fail, whatever. But it's given me more of like a guide to get there like faster and be stronger when I get there. So I think that it's held a mirror to me and just made me take accountability like for myself and just be like, hey, like what role did you play in this? Like how are you in your like this is your life. So it's made me just be like just take ownership and just be, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. What would you say to a woman who's on the fence about coaching but knows that she wants more out of her life and business or business?
Oof, do it. I mean, if you actually want more, then you'll take the steps to like get someone to push you. I mean, if you're, working out, you have a trainer. If you're like, a professional athlete, they have a coach. Like the basketball teams that you love, the football teams that you love, the athletes that you love, like they have their own drive, but someone coached them. Like someone looked at what they do every day. They looked at their game. They reviewed the footage with them and they're like, hey, like how can we make you better? How can we make you a winner? And I think if you want to take your business to the next level, like you have to kind of open up, you got to get under there and see like, okay, what's holding me back? Yeah. Like to me, it's no brainer. Like coaching and having my trainer, like those are things that are like, they become non-negotiable for me because like, I need them, Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I always tell people, I mean, I'm a big believer that we all get to where we're supposed to be. I just think coaching can propel it.
Yeah.
Because I think we do. I think naturally we hide parts of ourselves that we just tell ourselves and tell the outside world like this is just who I am, and it may have served us in the past, but it's not going to serve us in the future that we desire. And so, yeah, I love that. How does living an unquiet life mean to you?
Mm, I think an unquiet life for me, it's crazy like how fitting the name is because literally it's my voice, like finding my voice and like speaking up for myself. I think that like you're a big advocate of boundaries and like I didn't really know what that meant or looked like. Like you always think that you do, but boundaries are not walls. They're not like you just being like, I'm gonna like selfish and do whatever. Like boundaries are you like saying, what do I need and what am I bringing to the table? So I think that like me being unquiet and having an unquiet life is like actually taking up space and like speaking like when I'm uncomfortable or unhappy or if like this doesn't align with me, like just having the voice to say like, hey, like don't just be quiet and just sit there and take whatever's happening to you. Like you can speak, you can be bold, you can like live out loud. And I think that is like that's an unquiet life to me for sure.
Yeah, yeah. You definitely live an unquiet life, and I love it so much. I am going to put all your info. We'll have all your info on the podcast. But Brittany sells real estate all over.
All over.
I feel like you're all over the place.
Literally all over.
When I moved out here, I was like, she probably does not want to move out here. But now you have all the business out here. Like you probably know the area better than I do.
Yeah.
And so you work with all buyers, sellers, viewers, like first time investors, all the things.
Yeah.
I feel like you have you've like really been exposed to all the different arenas right now, and you're like just going full and full it. And so who knows, we may sell my house soon.
I mean, let's go
and do something else.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you for coming. I'm so glad that you're on my podcast. You're my first official guest of the podcast. But I knew I wanted to bring you on because I think your story is very powerful. And I think that you are a testament to the work that you do. And I love working with you.
Oh, I love working with you too. Like literally best decision I could have made. Yeah, like for me and my business. Like absolutely.
I'll let that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for being here and for choosing to be a little louder, a little braver, and a whole lot more you. If this episode spoke to you, I'd love it if you subscribed, left a review, or shared it with someone who needs it. Until next time, keep tuning in to the fire inside. Stay unquiet.